welcome to another Swass-Cast. I'm John Cimino with my sidekick,
Keith Gleason.
and we're here in the Mac Cave with the super popular guys from the Secret Identity podcast.
Brian?
Hey, and the Batman.
He's the popular one.
Okay, before we're going to go into today's Swass-Cast, which we're going to do our favorite top 3 cartoon sidekicks, we're going to go into a little viewer mail. And we've been getting a ton of mail lately.
Love the mailbag segment.
We love it. This has always been since like the 1920s. I've
This is
loved
where
it, guys.
people
Reckless
really
side
reach out and let you guys know how thankful they are for your entertaining them on a regular
Keith,
basis.
it's like
free.
hero envelope.
For free.
Envelope.
This is where they say, thank you for making this for us for free.
All right. Actually, on our Swass-Cast 21 Spider-Man Animated, we've had more views, over almost 20,000 views on this
He's a
podcast.
popular hero.
But
That's
I mean,
Spider-Man.
but that's a lot. I don't understand. And so we got such a reaction from it. But one was pretty interesting.
No, you gotta remember, we ripped on the 90s Spider-Man one.
So we got a lot
You
of
didn't like the voice box?
Spider-Man. So we got a lot of viewer feedback. We got a little, yeah, we got a lot of viewer feedback. But one was pretty interesting, and somebody said one was if I make it clear, it's from Matt-Man. Man, the host talks way too much. He asks the others what they think, and when they start to say something, he interrupts them constantly. Oh, I'm here now. What do you got to say? What do you got to say?
Well, you know what? Why don't you start talking so I can interrupt you then?
Look at
You know,
from
another
the
thing about
Matt-Man.
what I really
Look,
like
you know
about
what,
this.
Did you remember
You know what,
doing
though?
that or
No,
no?
I don't.
Look, you don't even
remember
remember.
that.
It's from Matt-Man.
That's constructive, though. He's trying to help you make a better show, and that's good.
Because you know what? I paid a lot of money to watch that show. apparently.
Where do you hear these other ones?
Okay,
invested
well, we got
his
a few.
time.
We got another one for you, and that one was from Matt-Man. I don't know who Matt-Man is, but it might have been another one. Okay, this one is first. Fuck you.
Oh.
I love the MTV
Well then.
and 90s series. Unlimited had its quirks, but it was watchable for a time. Secondly, you should do an Avengers episode. Not just the cartoons, but do the big 4. Cap number 1, Iron Man number 2, Thor number 3, Hulk number 4, plus any other characters who were in minor series. Please keep it to 60s to early 2000s, and then fuck Bendis.
So I don't know why
Wow.
Bendis
I
got
think-
shrapnel on that.
What's interesting is you can get some insight into the home life of some of the people that comment on the show because they punch you in the face
Yep.
and then they ask for something.
But then, and then they
So it
must
must
watch
be-
they must watch these episodes 45 times.
Yeah.
That's why the downloads are so high.
A lot of people didn't like the MTV series because of the animation.
Awful.
And I liked it.
Little known fact about the Spider-Man Unlimited show, which I also enjoyed, is that it was at one time supposed to be the 2099
Oh
universe.
yeah, that's right.
And it
My
was
only
then
problem,
changed to be more
for me, the
high-evolutionary
only
sort of
quirk with the unlimited one that it was on TV. All right, ready? Here's another one. These
thing. Pain
guys,
just keeps on coming.
the 90s series was most
That's not
definitely
nice.
the best one of all the Spidey series. I'd love to beat the shit out of all these guys, which would be so easy. That's how much he loves. Well, I'll tell you something. Sucks.
Signed Epstein's Mudda.
I don't know. All right, ready? We got another one here. All these fucking nostalgia fags.
Wow.
It's inappropriate.
This is
think?
crazy. This is
And
bad.
one more. Wait, we got another one. Could
Oh,
you please tell me
regale us.
how to post a video longer than 10 minutes? Thanks.
Yeah, it's the punch in the face and then ask for something.
Yeah.
Oh, did I hurt you? By the way, you have a dollar?
There's nothing. Anyone want to tell him? I don't know.
To post a video on YouTube.
Yeah, can someone please? So, I think he asked the wrong people. We weren't home.
He sees that you guys are technically savvy.
I think what people
Mike,
should realize
Can I
is
chime
that
in? 'Cause I- I'm a Spider-Man.
your arguments are more valid when you don't drop F-bombs every single
Oh,
sentence.
yeah.
I'm just saying is
there's
all.
no good criticism.
I'm just saying is all.
Could you please tell me how to post a video longer than 10 minutes? And then a thanks. At least it was nice.
Hey, that's the nicest feedback you guys got
Yeah.
out of all of them.
You got to take that one. Take it and run.
But I don't know how.
And he didn't even watch it. He just saw it was longer
Yeah.
than 10 minutes.
He probably said, I respectfully
I'm gonna pee my
disagree.
pants.
He probably said, I respectfully disagree with these gentlemen's views on the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon. However, they seem to be technically savvy and have broken the 10-minute barrier.
Please visit us, our Hero Envy blog at heroenvy.blogspot .com, yeah, and read all of our exhaustive blogs for the most information you'll find on any given subject. You love how I have to read it. I got one thing to say. Could you please tell us how to post a video longer than 10 minutes? Thanks. Well, thank you.
That's going to be when you guys have your big quote log, where it's going to say like, Stan Lee said this show was awesome, blah 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 said this. Do you know how to post a video on YouTube for under 10 minutes?
And now, if you guys are still with us, we're gonna do our top 3 cartoon sidekicks. Brian, start. No, we're gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's over. I don't know how to post it for 10 minutes. I let Keith handle the tech stuff.
But just to clarify, you don't know how to do the video thing, so you're not taking any further questions on that.
And don't forget, send your email to.
Don't tell it. Don't ask someone how to put tags on the videos.
Like if someone's wondering, how do I put hyperlinks into the show? You're not looking for that. No. Okay.
All right, Brian, number 3.
I'm gonna have to go with Brian the dog from Family Guy. It's one of my favorite television sidekicks. Now I know all you want to talk about is Hanna-Barbera, and we'll get to that. But I would have to classify Brian as one of the best cartoon sidekicks. He is Peter Griffin's dog. He has been along not only on all of Peter Griffin's adventures, but he's also been along for all of Stewie's adventures. And the aspiring novelist who is frequently the most reasonable one in the family, Peter's conscience, Peter's voice of reason, hated by Glenn Quagmire. He, to me, is my favorite character on that show, and a great sidekick, a great family dog. So you'll see some comments saying that is the worst show in the history of the world and all that stuff. Simpsons forever, all that.
Well, I hate The Simpsons too. So.
Whoa, you're
right. I love my Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. Let me start my letter to you right now. What the hell are you talking about?
No swearing.
Put it on.
We already got your other letter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they made the negative. Yeah, don't try to like it. He doesn't remember doing it by pac-man. Right. All right, Keith, you're number 3.
My number.
Was he get a text from somebody?
No, I have my
you.
Slimer from the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who was
I'll give you that.
Pretty much just a side character in the original movie, but they took and named for the real Ghostbusters.
Because ironically, in the real movie, he was probably almost as popular as the Ghostbusters. Of that movie, like in terms of merchandising and stuff like that.
I gotta say, I liked him in
the whole thing
when it went to Slimer and the real Ghostbusters when he started getting annoying. But
well, there was a contract issue, so he demanded more money, so he got top billing.
No, he was fun. Some episodes he's funny too.
I like Slimer.
All right, Mattman, number 3.
Before I give my 3, I just realized, we are the non-tech side. Paper, stuff that I don't understand. Number 3. Ookla the Mock. Every time Thundar had a decision to make, Ookla, which way should we go? Should we go down this snake river or should we go down this open path? We'll go down the path. I don't even know if he really knew what he meant, if he even knew what he said. And I also wonder...
You know what it was? He never understood Ookla, but he didn't want to embarrass himself in front of the princess, so he always pretend. Yep. Just like Han Solo does with Chewie.
I speak mock.
No one in Star Wars understands what Chewbacca's saying, but Han pretends that he does in order to impress everybody else.
Yeah, and a mock walking around in society with... And you know, it was a tough thing. I mean, he obviously looks different, even though it was a world of super science. Ookla still just said, you know what, I'm going to do what I got to do. I may be frustrated, but I'm still going to do my mock stuff.
Yep.
And that's what he did.
And what did Mox always hate?
What, water, wasn't it?
Yeah, they always hate water. Now, the funny thing is...
The one where they... I just watched the one not long ago. I think we did it on the podcast.
I think he flew a biplane, too.
They went to Hollywood.
Yes.
And there was a cult that had found pieces of the Godzilla robot.
Yeah.
Not the Godzilla, the King Kong robot from the movies, and they were building it back. They were building the idol back up. They were building
That's why that movie was so... I mean, those cartoons were the best. It's because every time they would go to a different place, and you'd see little things in the background, and then Princess Ariel would describe about it and tell
what
about
it used to be like.
What it used to, and it was awesome.
And it was a living Jack Kirby cartoon. That was
wait a second. Jack Kirby and Alex Toth. Yep. Alex Toth did the designs for Ariel, Ookla, and Thundar, and then everything else was created by Kirby. So it was the only time they ever collaborated on anything, which was one of the best
Alex
cartoons
Toth
ever.
was amazing.
It is. No one can argue with that.
And I got to just say, like, other thing about Ookla is that he could actually... He did a little funny things in the cartoon, because the cartoon was generally pretty serious, but he did some funny things, and it wasn't so over the top or anything.
He wasn't juggling.
Yeah, and it was great, so I'm going to give you. That's awesome.
He didn't fall in cake.
All right, for me, my number 3, I got to go for it, and I don't care what anybody says, and I love him. Gleek on the Super Friends. Now I know he's hated, and even in Challenge of the Super Friends, there was a sign and it said "Wanted Dead Gleek." They had a picture of Gleek's face. But I'm going to tell you something about Gleek, and I live vicariously through my daughter, who I love so much. And it's the only way I can still get childhood in some way instilled in me. But she loves all those lame-o, furry characters that are on this stuff, and she thinks...
Which is why they made them. And look at the
right, and they're chastised so bad now, but I always still like them. But when you see a little kid watching them and she gravitates through Gleek, ironically, she hates Wendy and Marvin.
Well, Hanna-Barbera,
and Marvin,
if I'm not
or the
mistaken,
dog,
and I probably am, but did Hanna-Barbera not bring in Gleek and the Wonder Twins to replace Marvin and
Yes.
Wendy?
And Wonder Dog.
And Wonder Dog.
Right. That he was just kind of too much of a knockoff of Scooby, just without the charisma of Scooby. But when you watch those things, and I like Gleek.
There's a banana joke at the end of every single episode.
Oh yeah, and then Zan is about to. Oh my God, the Moss Monster! He's coming back! He's coming back! Oh Zan, it's just Gleek. And everybody. Awesome. I'm going to Gleek. All right, number 2, cartoon sidekick.
Number 2, and depending on which side of the fence you're on, could be either one of these. Either Shaggy or Scooby.
Yeah.
Whichever one you think is the sidekick there.
Yeah.
That's a hard call, though. I mean, they're technically the sidekicks, but the sidekicks are the stars.
Right. Well, and a lot of it depending on what you read, you'll see some places will say that Scooby is Shaggy's sidekick, and some will say vice versa.
And it's probably true.
Think
they're both probably true.
A lot of it depends too on what incarnation of them that you're watching, because depending on which one you're watching, they kind of still have the same personalities, but there are times when Scooby's been sort of relegated to even more of a sidekick role than he was before.
Hey, to give a message to E, picked Scooby-Doo as one of the worst cartoons of all time.
We are no longer even acquaintances. Because for me, Scooby-Doo is
fantastic.
Is
you can't be
greater than almost all the superhero cartoons that I've ever seen. That show
is
absolutely timeless. And when you, like my kids, I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. Nobody doesn't love Scooby-Doo. Like we can sit around as a family, watch it. Not only do you have the comic relief, not only do you have all the different characters that people can identify with, you have the great monsters of the week, you have the great cameos from all the celebrities of the day.
Davy Jones!
And the best part...
He was on that?
Yeah, from the Monkees!
Oh,
there is a mystery.
Sonny and Cher!
There's a mystery in every episode. So it appeals to that part of kids, too, that are like, I want to know who's the bad guy. How do they find out? What's the mystery? Loved it when I grew up as a kid.
Absolutely.
It's gone through some ups and downs. A lot of people don't like the Scrappy-Doo, and I would put him out as one of the worst sidekicks of all time. However,
wait, I'm going to fight you on that because I'm going to fight you on that because my daughter loves him, and and my daughter loves it, and she loves the fact that why is the fact that Scooby? No, but the question
she's talking about.
She goes like, why is Scooby? Why is he not afraid of Scooby?
I would say instead of Scrappy, I would recommend a pup named Scooby-Doo. Because they're all young.
I stop at the 80s. I don't even go.
A pretty good one.
From the 60s,
however,
the late 60s,
I will say this:
80s,
the new Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated is phenomenal. The one on Cartoon Network. If you have not watched that, it is, I think, the best incarnation since the very original one.
The 60s.
It's so good. The writing is so good on it. So whether you're a Scooby or a Shaggy guy, either one of those, they're both the greatest. My second favorite sidekick of all time.
Right. Hey, in comment to what E said to you. Use your tech and unfriend him on Facebook. Show him.
If I could use my iPad to erase him from existence, I would do that.
All right, Keith, your number 2.
My number 2.
Cartoon sidekick.
Bandit from Jonny Quest.
Oh my God! And you were talking about Scooby-Doo being one of. Well, excuse me, Keith. You're talking about Scooby-Doo being one of the best cartoons, even better than a ton of the superhero cartoons.
Jonny Quest. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, Jonny Quest rises to absolutely Bandit.
And I'm a fan of the sidekicks that were not as annoying.
Yep.
So Bandit was just a dog.
Right.
And
they didn't have to make him stupid to make him appeal to kids.
Talk.
Right.
He would just bark and
awesome.
He'd always be there.
We have friends who have a dog named Bandit.
Oh, you
And he's a little, I don't even know what kind of dog he is.
Bulldog.
But he's a little bulldog. Little white bulldog. Looks just like him. Great stuff.
And how awesome is that original Jonny Quest?
Stuff you could not get away with nowadays.
For the younger kids out there, there would be no Venture Brothers without Jonny Quest.
Oh, of course,
of course.
And
but Bandit was so cute, so lovable, but so essential to there, and it was like he wasn't annoying.
He would provide that
awesome.
needed distraction right when the boys were in the most danger.
Yep.
And he helped out. Like he didn't like was just a nuisance.
Yeah.
He did, and he wasn't
Great
just in the
one.
way.
That's
Awesome.
a great one.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, my number 2. I'm gonna have to throw this out because it's almost like the Scooby-Doo. They're like the stars, but they're the sidekicks in the show. But I gotta go with Snoopy. Snoopy and Woodstock.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably the star of Charlie
He's the
Brown.
greatest.
You've got 2 levels of sidekick there. Snoopy being Charlie Brown's sidekick, Woodstock being
I was going to
Snoopy's
say that,
sidekick.
but the only reason why I can't consider Charlie Brown because it's always Charlie Brown and
Yeah.
But I mean, at one time when remember when I think in the late '60s, like didn't Snoopy go to the moon? Like they
Oh yeah,
like,
they did. He
it
went,
was
he
the
went to
most
camp, he went to the moon.
No,
he
no, no,
went
but
everywhere.
and it was they actually put it on the NASA ship.
Oh, you're talking reality?
in reality. Yeah, in reality. No,
What
no,
are we
so-
doing
no,
here?
So he actually became. He was the most recognizable face on the planet at that time, and it's like Snoopy. I mean, but like I think Snoopy. First, I love Snoopy and Woodstock because they represent best friends.
Oh,
But like, you just gotta love.
Glad you're sitting way over there now, aren't you?
He never said a word ever, and everything was made from pianos and just like. I mean, and every kid universally knew what the hell he was doing, and that is something shows you the genius of all Charlie M. Schultz. That like how so much is not even said in a Charlie Brown cartoon when it comes to Snoopy and stuff, and it's like you know everything that's going, and you just fall in love with these characters. The whole Peanuts.
Yep.
I mean, I can't say all Peanuts is the Holy Bible.
it's pretty close.
Yeah, but Snoopy.
You got the Bible. You got
Snoopy.
peanuts. But Lord, it was him. He switched it.
It's Snoopy. I mean, I gotta admit, Snoopy, I think is the quintessential character with Charlie Brown. I absolutely love it. All right.
So my number 2 is going to trump your little monkey dude, and I'm going with Zan.
Okay.
Now, Zan and Jaina were a riot because they were idiots. They should not have even been there. They're here with the world's greatest heroes, and you got a couple of knucklehead twins that, not that twins are bad. I'm not saying anything wrong about twins. Put your pens down. But they would get in trouble all the time. He could only be a form of an element, and it was like a bucket of water. Well, you know what? That's great putting out a fire.
And if you didn't have Gleek around, there had been no bucket.
No bucket.
That could carry that.
Gleek was always the one carrying the bucket with Zan sloshing around inside.
But there was, I mean, form of an ice bridge. As bad as he was that needed comic relief.
Yeah.
And when you're a young
Make
kid
fun of him
watching,
until you need an ice bridge, and then
You're right.
Then Zan's pretty useful, isn't he?
you're right.
I would have liked to have seen him been like, no,
And everybody makes
I am
fun
I'm
of
not
not
making
gonna
an
be-
ice bridge.
But
Everybody makes fun of me, right? Purple uniform. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
such
look
a
at
dork.
me, I'm-
How are you
look like
getting
my
across
sister.
this canyon? Oh, you're not. Oh, okay. So Zan's needed now.
Hurry up, guys! I'm melting. Because he would always be ice in the desert,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But it was just the two of them together. But I love Zan. I mean, every time he'd be on,
Yeah,
there were only a few episodes where they would really be featured, and the episode would go through them. But those were some magic. That was magic.
And you could make fun of the Wonder Twins, but everybody at some point in their childhood played the Wonder Twins.
Because they were a step
because
above.
they had Wonder Twin powers that they could activate.
like Josh. This is a shout out to Josh. They created the fist pump.
Yep.
They were the first people to create
They
the fist
did.
But
Yep.
but I have to say, like, the Wonder Twins get a bad rap, obviously, because they're sidekicks and stuff. But how much better were they than Marvin,
lot better.
Wendy, and that Wonder Dog? I mean,
Marvin and Marvin,
they,
yeah.
they actually had some purpose and stuff. And when I was a kid and I was becoming a Marvel zombie and watching it, I was like, oh my god, he looks like the Submariner.
Yeah, and you stayed like that and just watched it, right?
Prince Namor. All right, number 1, Brian.
Number 1, my favorite cartoon sidekick of all time is Arthur from The Tick.
Very
Oh
good.
wow, that's a great one.
That's
The
an
mild-mannered accountant who
I love
goes into a
The Tick.
life of superherodom
Love The
when he
Tick.
joins up with The Tick. The Tick, to me, is one of my favorite cartoons of all time, and Arthur is just... It wouldn't be The Tick without Arthur. Arthur is
Yeah,
the
you're
straight
right.
man to The Tick's complete lunacy.
Yeah.
And even though the
almost like
television
the-
show wasn't that great, I thought that the guy that played Arthur did a good job
Yep.
with that, and he was one of my favorite. My favorite episode ever is when he gets sent to the Sidekicks Lounge.
Yeah.
Because he's not allowed to go in the bar where all the,
The
superheroes
evil
go.
midnight
He has
bomber
to go-
with bombs at
yeah, the
midnight.
evil midnight bomber with bombs at midnight. Yes. Or Barry, the guy who calls
Now,
himself
was
the
the
Tick. Who's the jerk who calls himself the Tick?
Was the Tick that kind of started that, like, bad guys hang out with bad guys and, like,
Kinda.
good guys?
I think it was.
They would
Yeah.
hang out with the bad
Well,
guy.
it
but
played
that was the
upon
first-
all the tropes of superhero dumb. You know what I mean?
No,
And so-
right, but I never really saw that ever prior to that. Maybe
That definitely was the first. Like, you wouldn't have had books like Common Grounds, where all the heroes and villains hung out at the coffee shop, things like that.
Right.
You wouldn't have had that.
And even, it's funny, it's even reading like these little children's books and stuff, and they'll have like Marvin the superhero. It's just like a third and fourth graders read it, but like all the bad guys hang out with the bad guys, and they go to bad guy conventions, and they learn how to do bad things. And when I read all that stuff, or I saw some of that stuff, I was like, this reminds me of the Tick, because I remember the Tick had those those weird characters, but they were like buddies with like the enemies, like, and
the best part was like where everybody, all the other sidekicks sort of know their place. They know that they're the sidekick. Arthur was always offended by that. And so especially where he has to go sit in the sidekicks lounge, he's completely
like
offended
that
by
stuff.
that.
It was great.
But all the other sidekicks are like explaining their stories to him, talking dog and stuff like that. So
who was the crazy guy on the Tick? He was like the Punisher wannabe, but he was insane. Remember that? He was like, I think he was like Grenade, or he was like, I'm gonna pull this grenade.
He was always crying.
Yeah, because he had such traumatic.
I think my favorite Tick villain ever was the Deadly Bulb, who had a pig for a leg. He's got a big light bulb on his head, and he goes around in a balloon, and his leg is just a pig. There's an actual pig.
That was awesome.
Was it the carpet? He was one of the heroes. The carpet. The
sewer urchin.
He had he could get you
static shock.
electricity.
Yeah. I mean,
but he would overheat because he had
obviously
the
based off
do you remember that?
The Tick comic books. Ben Edlund.
Absolutely.
Great
obviously
stuff.
all that stuff is based off of. Ben Edlund now works on Supernatural.
Yeah, he was one of the. He worked with Josh Whedon. A lot, too.
So
all right, Keith, number one.
Well, it's already been mentioned, but I'll say it again. Woodstock.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown.
I love it.
How good when he flied the little dotted lines, and he was always upside down.
Yeah, or he couldn't get it right.
Or when he get mad,
Yeah.
and his fur would be, or feathers flapping everywhere.
And
It's awesome.
when Snoopy would get disgusted with him.
But once again, Woodstock they never spoke English. They never barely spoke, and they just did
But you
stuff.
always knew.
And you kids.
That's the genius of Schultz.
Oh, it's like you knew exactly, and you felt the magic of it. It gravitated you in, and Snoopy and Woodstock represent best friends. Like it's just like they went on the. I loved how Snoopy and Woodstock, they would follow the gang and stuff, but they were very self-sufficient. They never imposed themselves on it. They
always had their own thing going on.
and they would try to, like the camping one. They would try to make the things that tents fall down. Snoopy and Woodstock, they make the great tent, and they never asked for anything, and they just followed and they did their own thing. I love that. Absolutely. Woodstock, and so cute. Just the simple lines.
It's like you two. Snoopy and Woodstock.
Cute. He's a big lug. All right, I'm gonna, because I'm an egomaniac. I want to be the last one to give my number one. So Matt, you go.
I'm shocked.
Yeah,
Wow.
me too. I'm shocked by
Wow,
the
let me
email
write a
you
letter
sent
to
me
that
at the
one.
beginning
I
of
wonder
this.
why he comments on the show.
Yeah, I know. Not even positively.
Now, as far as a good sidekick, you need to get yourself in trouble. You need to have a look that is bad. You need to have just you need to scream, "Help me! Help me! Help me!" Tub from the Amobi Dick cartoon.
Oh my god.
Now, first of all,
I got so much to say.
First of all, large kids like that should not be going underwater.
What the hell is he doing? So I
Can't go underwater.
So slow.
This kid could not run away from a burning building if he was 20 feet away from it. He's underwater. Now, every time he's underwater, it was always good because they always had those masks that you could still talk to the other guy.
The whole face was just a big pain in
So
the
he'd be under there and they're swimming around, and mind you, they're hanging out with a big whale that throughout history has destroyed boats and killed people. So they're hanging out with this thing.
And Moby wrecked people.
And all he did, he would slap you with his tail, you're done.
And they would love it.
So Moby,
Hanna-Barbera.
Tub, and the other kid, I already forgot the other kid.
Tucker? I think
Some
it could be.
thin, bony boy.
But
so
at least
they
he
would go
could
through.
swim.
But you know what? All of a sudden they're escaping somewhere, and who is it but Tub? Oh no! I got stuck in this cave and I can't get out. Well, yeah, because you're like 500 pounds too heavy. You can't fit through an opening this big. The whale fit through the opening. You can't. Or who is it that every time they're deep, deep, deep underwater, and they can always walk on the ocean floor too, which was always cool. They were walking. Who is it that always steps in the big giant clam but Tub? Tub? Oh no!
Well, because he's the most juicy. All those animals want to take a bite out of the big one.
Oh no! Oh no! I'm stuck in the clam. Oh, quick pull!
I just have one thing.
Pull.
All right, it's not absurd enough that they're hanging out with this whale that destroys.
It's like our best friend.
And then there's an otter too, there, right? There's like the walrus thing that's there too. But where's these kids' parents? I mean, they've been underwater for years, and those suits never need oxygen. But
Right.
Who's looking?
Who's watching these kids?
Gave him those.
Where are you guys going? Mom, Dad,
They're
me and
Moby
Tubby.
Dick's wards.
So Tubby does represent
them in.
everything that's bad about us.
Yep.
We talked about
There's,
Scrappy and all that. Tubby represents. You want him
Are
to
they the
fail.
kids
Yeah,
of the
you want him to get eaten
He's
by
got
the
some
big
kids you're not
squid.
rooting for?
No, he's
Are they
just like,
Ahab's kids?
Well, that's it. You know, it's like, Mom, Dad,
That's why
we're
he
going.
hates Moby Dick so much. You stole my children!
Mom, Dad, me and Tub, we're going into the ocean for a couple hours. We're going to hang out with the big
Right.
whale. All right, just be back by noon because I got your lunch ready. Did stuff like that happen?
But see, that was the love of the funny thing is that I think I said before, Hanna-Barbera's World of Super Adventures is the greatest cartoon ever because you never knew what you get. But damn, when you got Moby Dick, you were kind of like, damn.
And you know that when kids were
I gotta watch it, but
playing this in the pool as little kids, they're like, let's go in the pool and play Moby Dick. You know, you had that big fat kid that went, I don't want to go in the pool and play Moby Dick because I'm going to be Tub. I didn't want that.
Blah, blah. All right, that's perfect.
How's that?
That's a fantastic one. Absolutely. But
Wait till I get the
my
letters
number one.
You don't like large people.
Yeah.
Wait till that letter comes.
My number one cartoon sidekick of all time, and he was a comic character made into he was in a cartoon, the 1980 Shazam series, Uncle Marvel. I love him. Remember Uncle Marvel? Uncle Marvel was totally psychotic. Wait, he hung out with Billy Batson and all the other guys, and he knew they turned into Captain Marvel. So he would run and dress up in his Captain Marvel suit with his punch, and he's 90 years old, and he would go out there and fight crime with them, and they would save his ass every time, and it's like, this guy is crazy. Dr. Savannah coming in there with these robots, but I love the guy. It was he got the best of everything. I get to hang out with the Marvels, be a nitwit, they'll get me out of any trouble, but yet he never knew. He always thought that, I got him, kids. It was like, and they just saved him, and then sure enough, Captain Marvel Jr.'s broken leg because he had to save him.
That's
and
exactly
he never even knew. I got him. And he went up against Black Adam in one episode. Don't worry, guys. I'll stop him. And then he went down. You know what then? You know what happened? Black Adam took him. He threw him into space. Thank God Mary Marvel was around to save him. And he's like, I almost had him, kids. And I'm like, this guy is
family. That guy would be in Bellevue.
Yeah. And did they ever once say, look, you're putting us all at risk by being there?
No, because the Marvels are so nice. They're so nice.
I think they should have said something.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
To be fair, especially when it comes to superhero shows, the nature of the sidekick is to make the hero vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so you're always having to make up for the shortcomings of the sidekick. You're always having to save the sidekick. They add that, they're comic relief, and they add that tension when otherwise there might not be any.
And it's always there to add to the family dynamic when you're hanging out with your family. You're like, that guy's like Uncle Marvel. He's nuts.
Yeah.
He's always drunk and falling
And sure
down
enough,
the
on
stairs.
Crisis on Two Earths, that animated DC movie, right? Remember, did you guys see
Yes.
that?
Yep.
Uncle Marvy's on there. I'm gonna get him, kids. Fantastic. All right, you got any honorable Uncle Marvel? This one's for you. Shazam. All right, go ahead.
I have one honorable mention.
Oh, wait, one more thing. On the cartoon, he actually, how at the Wiz radio station, he was actually the fitness guy of the thing. And he was old, weak, he couldn't do anything, and yet he taught people how to exercise. Yeah. And he would do little things like, we're gonna do about 100 chin-ups. And then when you looked at the camera looking down, he's only going, he's not even going off the ground. I love you, Uncle Marvel. Here's to you, kids. All right, go ahead. Give your honorable mention.
I don't know if I can follow that.
Yeah.
My honorable mention is Gleep and Gloop from the Hercules.
Oh! Before you can explain, one of my honorable mentions was Gleep and Gloop, but I also threw in Tundro, Dorno, Dorno, and Igu.
But Gleep and Gloop were always my
Awesome.
favorite, just because.
Love it. Gleep right here.
Love
Look.
Gleep and Gloop. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, you got to.
So if you're a kid, when the first time you see that, you're like, oh, those guys are awesome.
Yeah. That's what I said about Keith. I want to be friends with him. He looks like Gleep. But I know what you're talking about. Honestly, and those guys kicked butt.
Yeah.
You invaded Quasar. It became Quasar.
Yeah.
In the 80s, but their planet, you were done for. But he's cute, and even Igu looked like the Thing.
Yep.
Tundra was cute, but they just wrecked shop.
They were all awesome, but Gleep and Gloop were my favorite.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go with a couple. I've got Dynomutt, who I always thought was great. He used to hang out with the Blue Falcon.
Yep.
But you know what? He was another one. Blue Falcon would have had a much easier work day if Dino Much had stayed home.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have been getting in all sorts of trouble. Then
Wait, but how cool did not Dino? Who's the other guy? The Dynamite's master? What's his name?
Blue Falcon.
He looked awesome. When I was a
did.
kid, like with the dark eyes,
Yep.
I thought he was cool.
Another one is going to be Tink. Hey there, Speed Buggy. You know I'm going.
I do like Tink.
And he used to walk around with a big wrench, and I mean,
Or
was he related
Speed
to
Buggy's
Shaggy?
Shaggy.
Yeah,
basically.
he was Shaggy. He was their Shaggy. I
Or
think
who's the guy from
Jabberjaw
Josie
had
and the
another one.
Pussycats with the glasses?
Yep, everybody.
yeah.
They all had the same. It was basically the same cast off of Scooby Doo on
Yep.
all of them.
And what
Oh,
was
yeah.
great about Tink is that anytime you like us living up here in the north, if you ever had a kid from the south that hung out with you, you could always just call him Tink. And give him a wrench and say, sit in the back seat and tell us what you need to do to the car. All right, I think I need to fix it. Because he was
awesome.
He was like the motivation for the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. All right. My honorable mention, since we had the Herculoid sidekicks there, I gotta also throw in. He was one of the most resourceful sidekicks ever, but he always had bad luck. Who knows Hula Hula from Plastic Man?
Hula hula.
Oh, come on. It looks just like my friend Al Merriman when he's with the hula shirt. Every time I see him, I'll send him pictures of Hula Hula.
And he always stood on an angle.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, he goes, there goes my bad luck again. You know, like, he'd always have bad luck, but yet, no matter where they went in the entire world, yeah, I got my friend over here. He knew his friend that would help him out. Like,
Yep.
he always knew somebody. He was so resourceful, but then again, his bad luck would always ruin stuff.
Yep. Oh, I ate some bad mucky.
And I have to throw in probably the number one, maybe a little bit cuter than Woodstock, little baby Blast.
Baby Blast.
I love it. And my favorite thing, even me and my daughter talk about it this day, is like from the '70s one when Baby Blast is getting wheeled out because Hula Hula's taking him for a walk. God, hey, shame on Plastic Man for letting him
Yeah.
We
take
should
him for a
have
walk.
done one
Wait
on
a second.
favorite babies.
Yeah, but wait, while he's wheeling him out, he says bye to the mom, and he goes, his little lips go, and he goes out. Baby Blast is the best.
Not the best
Right.
baby though.
My two honorables for like,
Well, save
they're
that for
kinda-
another one. Don't.
They're kind of like superhero ones too. Crypto the Super Dog.
Yeah.
Crypto
Yeah,
the Super
Ace
Dog.
the Bat Hound.
I loved when Crypto had his own show.
Yeah, and Batman.
And if you look right up there, if you
we
look
always
right up
hate-
there, you got Ace right there.
When we,
Oh,
and we
nice.
hate animal sidekicks, but Crypto was cool. Like,
Crypto was
yeah,
awesome.
work.
But I liked him more in the Superboy cartoon.
Oh
Like the
yeah, Bryn,
Filmation
and that's why
one.
Bryn loves that the from the Filmation ones.
Yeah, those
from
are the ones I
60s.
liked.
Yeah, those
that's
are
where
awesome.
he like took off.
Because he was a nice dog. He wasn't annoying. He was just
Right.
and he helped out and but he was like a regular dog that would have been
And
with him.
The way they've written him now in the DC universe, or the pre-New 52, is that
Is he in the new 52?
I don't know because I didn't read Superboy. I don't think I've seen him yet, but
is
he's
Baby
just
Plas?
awesome.
Is
No,
Baby
he's-
Plas?
That's going to be a miniseries. That's the new 53.
I love Baby
Crypto
Plas.
he's Superboy's best buddy, and he loves that dog. And there's a great one where he had to go out and kind of save the day on some things, and he's a dog. He can't do it, but you see it through his eyes, and they've done a great job with it where they haven't made him like Streaky the Super Monkey and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Super
yeah.
Horse and all that stuff.
And that's where he was on Superboy. He was just like a regular dog. So tell us your best sidekicks. Do you think it was Baby Plas or Uncle Marvel?
Pac Baby is the best baby. Cartoons.
Now here's a hint for
Baby
everybody.
Plas with a
If you're gonna send your favorites, don't like insult us and ours. Just send us yours. How's that? Send me yours.
One more honorable mention: Brain from Inspector Gadget.
Oh, yeah.
The dog that Inspector Gadget would be dead 1,000 times over. Without,
Absolutely.
Who just always put himself in harm's way to save Inspector Gadget and Penny.
So do you agree? Disagree? Send us yours. And before we go, can we get a right one here? How about you give me a how good?
How good? So good.
Baby Plas.